No, the whole reason
us.
we're actually doing this because Psy got into an argument on Twitter. That's why we're actually.
Yeah, well, I got into an argument on Twitter
Per the usual.
like 2 weeks ago.
Weeb Crew podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Weeb Crew podcast.
That was an epic Inspector Gadget.
I'm your host,
Hello
Psy.
and welcome to the Weeb Crew podcast.
I'm glad that we decided that was how we were going to start the episode.
You know,
That's
Matthew
not the
Broderick
intro.
killed 2 people in a car accident in Ireland.
Yes, he did. I do think about that pretty often.
Yeah, well, that's just ruined Inspector Gadget for me because I'm like, oh, he's just a murderer.
Well, to be honest, French Stewart actually does a better job, projecting the character. Like Matthew Broderick is just kind of doing Matthew Broderick, but in the sequel, Inspector Gadget 2, French Stewart actually did a much better job of bringing the character to life.
I feel like I remember the second movie more than the first movie as well. But that's I think I may have seen both of those movies maybe once, maybe the second one twice, and that's why I remember it more.
It's almost like a parallel to RoboCop because both of them have a sequel where the sequel is they make a second Inspector Gadget / RoboCop.
Yeah, and it goes like a tirade, doesn't it, in the Inspector Gadget movie?
Yeah.
What's the
So
robot
who
movie?
would win then?
What's the robot movie that has the robot petting the cat and kills it and it's basically shredding it as it's petting it? It's like, oh, the pretty kitty, and it's fucking blood everywhere.
I don't. What the fuck?
Is
I have no
that
fucking
AI?
idea.
Is that what that was?
Maybe.
Oh yeah, artificial
Is
intelligence.
that the one that
Spielberg
has
movie?
the cat, right? Or is that not the right movie?
That it's been so long since I've seen it. The one thing that stuck with me from that movie is there's the scene where I think they call robots mecha in that movie, and there's a woman who's she's screaming. She screams I hate mecha, and I'm like, that's a good soundbite to have on the internet.
All I remember about that movie is there's a scene where Haley Joel eats spinach or something. He's at the dinner table and just eats spinach, I guess, and that just almost kills him, and they have to take him to the hospital and have the spinach pulled out of him. I'm just I'm never eating spinach ever again. What the fuck was that?
Oh yeah, that movie has a really sad ending, and then there's a super tacked on 20-minute part that undoes it.
Oh really?
Because the ending is that he wanted to be a real boy, and the ending is he's in a ship underwater, and he thought that he'd find the blue fairy and she'd turn him into a real boy, but I forget what it is, but it's something where it's it turns out it doesn't work out. It's not the way he thought it was. And so the narrator is and he stayed down there wishing and hoping to become a real boy for decades and centuries. And it never happened. And I was like, that's a great ending.
That's a great ending.
It's hits you hard, but then it goes hundreds of years in the future and aliens come down and he meets the aliens and the aliens show him his family and he has it really it was almost like Steven Spielberg walked in and said, you can't do that for a picture. You got to have a happy ending. And so they tacked on this ending where aliens come down and make him a real boy or something.
That's so lame.
It's so awful. I hate it.
That's so funny.
And it was written by Stanley Kubrick, wasn't it?
It was. He was originally going to direct it, but he passed away.
Well, yeah, and he sat on the movie for years, didn't he? Because he didn't the technology for making that movie just didn't exist yet or something.
Oh, I'd believe that, yeah.
Or maybe that was something to do with 2001, something along those.
I mean, that's what they said with Avatar, and I guess I feel you could have made Avatar. You'd have to scale it down, but I feel you could have made Avatar in 2000.
You could have made Avatar in the 1980s. It's had people wearing blue suits. It's fine.
Yeah, that's just get people in suits and then
funner.
Yeah, you use you use scale models for stuff. It's totally doable. It would probably look a little better.
Honestly, they should have just I watched Rebel Moon last night, and much like Avatar, both of those movies really just should have been anime. Honestly, they would work way better as Avatar would work way better as an anime OVA than a live action $300 million CGI fest. Honestly.
Yeah, I looked up AI artificial intelligence cat scene, and it's just giving me AI art of like stupid cats.
Meow,
meow, meow,
Oh yeah,
meow.
SEO is not going to be maybe type in Spielberg AI or something, or it's just going to give you AI.
There's a new AI that makes you look like ET.
Okay, so Spielberg AI artificial intelligence does start giving you the movies, but it's almost exclusively just the alien parts, and I'm just like, why? This is a very why are you showing me the aliens?
Movie where was it Leonard Nimoy in The Outer Limits, iRobot Night. Is that where? Is this the movie then?
Oh, was it the Outer Limits movie?
Maybe. I don't know. Let me type in Outer Limits cat. Wait, what the wait, what was the name of the movie? Wait. 2005 original air date. Robot child he built. It's Outer Limits, Simon Says, seen at 3 minutes 30 seconds. That video's unavailable. God fucking damn it.
I think I think that might be the robot. Simon Says.
Okay, Simon Says cat. Oh wait, hold on. Is this it? Oh Jesus Christ!
Oh, this rules. I like this.
Oh, that's why is it doing like the cover of Evil Dead 2?
I think that might be the robot. I think that's it.
Yeah, but
that's cool. That was a TV show.
This is like a weird version of Alf almost. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Yeah, you just replace Alf with like a creepy looking robot kid.
I don't know where that. Wait, is that Skylar from fucking Breaking Bad?
No, that's not Skylar.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yeah, it's check her feet. You can tell.
I can't see her feet. That's not her. That's not Skylar for Breaking Bad.
Being scared of shit.
Okay, well, what the fuck did he do to the cat? Show me the goddamn cat.
It might be that scene with the guy walking in. Go back.
That scene
right there.
This one, this end like this.
Maybe
the ending.
Oh no! That's
wait, hold on. Is that Andy? Okay, no, I thought that was Andy from Twin Peaks. No, we're just all mistaking. What is a mistaken identity?
Wow, that's an ending. Whatever that. Okay.
That's a different ending to a different episode.
Oh, that is the whole episode.
This is just the whole episode. Here we go. This is scroll through this entire episode. Hello and welcome to the Weeb Crew, by the way. I'm your host, Psyotic, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mumi. Do the rest of the introduction as I try to find where this fucking cat gets, like, obliterated.
Well, I was supposed to do, like, a clever, like, I enjoy cat violence or something, but, like, I can't do that now.
You enjoy cat violence?
Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Yeah, today we are not talking about, well, I guess we kind of are talking about artificial intelligence.
A little bit, yeah.
That's
a possible. That's a kind of a segue.
But we're not talking about the kind that pets your cat and
kills it. I don't. Where the fuck is the goddamn scene? This is like a 44-minute episode. Oh god, I'm gonna have to like scroll through this entire goddamn thing.
We are talking about the kind that translates your anime and makes like it's not fan subs. I guess it's just machine subs. I guess that's...
well, it's not really a fan doing them. It's just
was that what we were going to talk about?
Something like
I don't
that.
know. Something like that. Well, because it's like, because we have to consider. I guess AI isn't woke or something. Even though Grok seems to be like disproving that. I guess so. I don't. Maybe. Oh wait. Oh, there is the cat. There is the cat. Where now? Show me him killing the cat. I gotta see it now.
We'll get an intro sometime in the next 30 minutes.
I'm getting an intro. You're ruining my intro.
Continue. All right, I'm close to coming. I mean, finding where the cat is dead.
This is the real reason why you like fucking Red Letter Media shit. What the fuck?
Let me tell you the story about an 8th grade teacher. I had a teacher in 8th grade who for Halloween would just hang a dead mummified cat in his door. And we would have to every time we went to just He just found it under his house and thought it was really funny. He would hang it in his door, and we'd have to like kind of push it out of the way whenever we like tried to walk into the classroom.
That sounds why.
It's a funny prank to pull on kids for Halloween. Not really a prank as much as it is a gruesome inconvenience.
I respect it.
The cat also had like a hole in its asshole, so we would constantly joke like, "Oh, he's like just fucking the cat."
It had a hole in his asshole.
Shane Dawson?
I also have a hole in my asshole. It's where my poop comes out.
Oh, really? I've heard
Sounds
of
pretty
those.
common.
I'm not. Yeah, and mine just comes out my penis.
I've heard of that.
No,
Yes,
no, they
I've
call
heard
it
of that as well.
copula.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite directors. The Apocalypse Now. Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah, so we're talking about fan subs and translations and machine subs and machine translations and the like.
Yeah, then this is like kind of like not really relevant now. We did this like a week ago. Well, we wanted to do it like a week ago because we invited, what was her name? Dimitri Monroe. We want like
His.
What?
Him.
Who?
You're using the wrong pronouns, and now I'm going to kill
What do you mean?
on Twitter.
Wait, what?
I'm canceling you.
What did I say?
I have
You
no
said-
relation to this person.
Huh? Oh,
You said she.
I said she. I thought I said them.
Play the tape back.
Play
I
Take
heard
back.
she.
Oh, well.
Hayden agrees with me. You're going to jail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In either case, we invited this person on, and much like the coward they are, ignored us. So
To be fair, I do want to say I sent like because him and I are mutuals on Twitter. I sent a DM just explaining like, yeah, I think you make some good points and they make some good points, and I think it's worth having a discussion to find the middle ground and, you know, see what is the solution to the problems we experience.
well, yeah, because
and
well, we talked about this on stream like a little bit over a year ago, and Mumi, like when I brought this up to Mumi, like, hey, we should talk about this on the podcast. And we already just stream on it. And so yeah, people listen to the podcast, don't listen to the streams.
That is the only reason I agree to this, because it's like, well, I guess.
I mean, what
It
else are we
was a
going to
year
talk
ago,
about
and
this week?
To be fair, like I've gotten into fan subs now, which is, I think, like the actual reason why we're doing this now.
Yeah, well, well, and then that's why you're here. Otherwise, I mean, get the fuck out. You're
No, the
no use
whole
to
reason
us.
we're actually doing this because Psy got into an argument on Twitter. That's why we're actually.
Yeah, well, I got into an argument on Twitter
per the use,
like 2 weeks ago, and now we're recording it so we can be level-headed and objective.
Well,
Dimitri
to be fair,
Monroe,
I started the
I'm
shitstorm, and then
issuing a
you got into the
fatwa against
argument, so we're all in this.
This is true. Well, what was your like?
I'm not in this. I'm just fucking here.
Because like what was the thing? It was like Donald Trump said he was like taxing foreign movies or something, putting tariffs on foreign movies. And
Yeah, like
everyone was
100% tariffs on foreign movies, and then people were like, what were people saying? I can't fucking remember.
Well, people were like, "Hooray! This will kill Crunchyroll," and then it'll only be the most dedicated fans watching anime again. It's like, you know what would really make the most dedicated fans only watching anime? Let's make it all illegal. Let's just criminalize all. Like if you have anime on your hard drive, they just shoot you on site. That would then only the real fans would be watching anime. Right? That's how we gatekeep the normies who are fearing for their life. They just refuse to watch anime because they're scared.
Well,
Yeah, it's basically just a bunch of people who hate Crunchyroll who want them to go under. And then it's like, okay, well, you want fans to take over or like do all of the subs, you know, like they did back in the day, even though there were official releases by companies, you know, on DVD and stuff that had subtitles officially. So nothing has really changed. But like, you know, fans could not keep up with every single anime over 20 years ago. What makes you think fans can keep up with anime now?
that's my thing.
Well,
like I'm all for. I fucking hate Crunchyroll. I fucking hate.
Yes,
like,
let this be known. This is an anti-Crunchyroll podcast. Like, I think the fucking Crunchyroll Anime Awards are coming out in like a week or something. So we're just gonna be like laughing at that probably.
laughing at that. I've been laughing at the misfortunes of Crunchyroll and Daisuke and what Funimate, whatever the fuck, for years.
Oh yeah.
So
No,
I can appreciate.
I do not like Crunchyroll.
I can appreciate the sentiment of, oh yes, I hate Crunchyroll. Hope they're dead. But this, okay, first off, the idea that like the tariffs are gonna do anything to like, I don't know. That doesn't really work because you're not shipping anything.
No, and it realistically would probably, since it was specifically for movies, it would realistically impact like a company like G Kids more because they're the ones putting movies in theaters. So I guess it's like, I mean, if you just don't like seeing anime in theaters,
talking about like we're talking about like port shit. Like you have to pay to get things from the port. I don't think anyone fucking knows what the fuck tariffs mean in a digital age as far as like importing like IP information.
No.
We're not like, they're not shipping the fucking video like in a tin can,
like on a USB.
They ship the VHS tapes from all the way to San Francisco, and then it's unloaded at the port.
And then they upload it onto their servers using a tape reader.
So I have no idea. I can't imagine it would impact like IP and like, oh, I have a digital copy of this fucking movie. Though he is talking about like he wants to bring Hollywood shit back to Hollywood or something.
Right.
So but that seems like a separate thing.
Yeah, it would seem to be specifically more about like Hollywood movies like shooting in like Vancouver or something because they get like a bunch of tax breaks and stuff, which is like, yeah, that's kind of I mean, that's just, I don't really give a fuck, but it is kind of funny. It's like, oh, this is New York City. It's clearly Vancouver. It's always Vancouver.
Like there's a show called The Ozarks, and they can't film in the Ozarks because they wouldn't get a tax break for filming there.
Yeah. I don't know how. If anything, like the main thing that like tariffs really seem to have done is like make it more expensive to buy like merch. Like if you like to buy figures, there have been like tariffs on stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Just in general, like to import stuff from Japan, support the anime industry directly. I mean, that's literally like what the tariffs are meant to like stop doing. Because like the idea is like you place tariffs on something so you can grow the industry domestically. You place tariffs on foreign imported steel so that way like domestically produced steel becomes like more competitive. So is the idea then you place tariffs on anime so you can make more American anime? Is this really just, is Adi Shankar part of the deep state?
Yeah, it's a little bit of people not understanding the situation and then running with a narrative.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, funny enough, I hear a lot of the people who are anti-Crunchyroll say, I support the anime industry the real way, which is by buying figures and importing stuff, which is like, well, funny enough, Crunchyroll isn't the one affected. It's the importing figures people and importing video games. Those are the ones that actually do get affected by it.
Well, I have it on good authority, John. I have it on good authority that real anime fans never actually spend money on anime.
But
I unfortunately do.
Yeah, evidently.
Because like you see all of these people on Twitter who say, down with Crunchyroll or whatever. Like, how often do they actually talk about anime? I feel like a lot of the people when in my shitstorm were like bringing up examples of localization from video games that they didn't like. And I'm like, okay, have you played all of these games? Also, this is about subtitles. I don't give a fuck about your shitty video games.
People pointed
That's another thing is that I feel like I've seen a lot of argument about the translation of video games. And from what I understand, I don't really play video games. But from what I understand, video game translation is like stuck in like an old school mentality where, old Nintendo games had much heavier localization. And that's something that they've kind of stuck to. Whereas anime from, as early as the 90s, there was this push to release anime over here uncensored and as accurate and as faithful as possible, where video games, it doesn't feel like that's always been a thing. And I think that probably comes from the anime industry being mostly founded by people who were fans of anime.
Yeah.
So you have like, you do have people like Carl Masick who were, we'll say vocalizing anime back in the 80s.
Yeah.
But the most of the people involved who got in through stuff like Robotech wound up founding these companies that released anime more faithfully to the best of their ability. Those subtitles from the 1980s might not be the best, but they were trying and they had the right mindset.
There are,
Yeah, sorry, go.
touching on the figure like domestic thing again. There are like domestic, isn't like the Jazzwares total anime figure line? Aren't those made in America?
I have no idea.
Like
Maybe.
these fucking like sketchy, weird looking ass figures. I'll stream these real quick for y'all.
I don't know. Yeah, you're the anime
I'm gonna
figure guy here.
Flip my lights on real quick, BRB.
Like they don't look terrible compared to like what anime figure like because I remember like the old Bandai Dragon Ball figures from like the 2000s. These look like at least like they're trying. They picked up picked up on some of the stuff that American figure companies like Figure Arts and Figma have been doing for ages. Like you got the switchable hands and faces and shit. But they don't look good. Like,
no.
I mean, those are more intended for kids, right? Those are intended to be play figures, not like presentation figures,
yes.
right?
Well, I think like the figures that you have that are supposed to be like the quote unquote like display figures are like McFarlane shit.
Seth MacFarlane?
Yes.
Todd McFarlane.
What?
Todd McFarlane, inventor of Spawn.
No, I think
we also
those,
like
they look like shit.
Sorry.
But if these are play figures, it's okay for them to have wonky ass
Yeah,
faces.
that's
I guess you're using
but like
action
that's
figures.
what we're replacing like Figma Figure Arts with, I guess. It's just this. It's like, oh, okay.
I guess, yeah. Welcome. Support American-made figures, guys. Go buy this shit. It's. I remember also like arguing with people on Twitter, being like, okay, well, like, how many anime are you watching this season? Like, what are some recent examples from like this season or like the last season? And the two examples people gave, one was like Medalist just having dub titles that were also just weren't they like poorly timed on Hulu or something?
It was funny because it's two shows that I had watched very recently. Yeah, with Medalist. And now the thing with Medalist was that apparently I had initially tried watching it on Hulu subtitled, but the Hulu subs were mistimed. It was really bad. Like they were desyncing, and that isn't even the first time I had that issue with Hulu. Heavenly Delusion, one of my favorite anime ever, dropped on Hulu with mistimed subs.
I've noticed that just on other things is like I've watched like Law and Order SVU on Hulu, and like the subs are just completely like mistimed.
It breaks my heart that someone could start Heavenly Delusion and then their subs are mistimed, so they just go fuck it.
Did it also release with a dub?
The dub came a couple of weeks later, so it does have a dub available. So if someone picks the dub option, they shouldn't have a problem.
Okay, but if you wanted to watch it immediately, it was just unwatchable.
It was just subbed
using official sources. Yeah.
The Heavenly Delusion ones weren't as bad as Medalist. Medalist was unwatchable. Heavenly Delusion was just enough to drive you insane, but to like make your head hurt. But the Medalist ones were actually unwatchable. Genuinely, you couldn't get through the episode because it kept getting the time between the lines and the subtitles was just getting greater as the episode went on. Not only that, but they also had dub titles. I don't think the dub for Metal. I weirdly defend the dub of Medalist. Maybe I have Stockholm syndrome because I watched it because I liked the show enough. There were some liberties taken with the dub that people were upset with, but because of that, those liberties also made it into the subtitles. And that bothered people, and that's fair. I think they should have a subtitle track that's more. That isn't the dub, right? Now, what I heard about Medalist is that if you go to Disney Plus, they actually have correct, translated, more accurate to the Japanese subtitles. I didn't check that for myself. I just illegally downloaded it.
I don't have
because I just said like you had your chance and you fucked it up. So now I'm stealing it.
Right.
So apparently, if you watch on Disney Plus. It should be fine. I notified Hulu like twice on Twitter. And they said they didn't see a problem. I was literally screen capping it in real time as I tweeted to them. I told them what time I'm at and the episode. I tried it on a different computer and it still happened. And they were just like, yeah, we don't see a problem. So I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So the medalist one is not a case of the issue that most people have, which is the subtitles being translated by a translator who is intentionally tweaking the dialogue in a way that sort of betrays the original meaning, for some sort of and possibly adding maybe a politically charged angle. That wasn't the case with Medalist. It was literally they just put the dub closed caption track.
Yeah, which has the word goober in it, and that's it.
It has the word goober. It says doggo. There's a character named Mike, and they call her Mittens.
Why do they say goober exactly? What's going on there?
I think it's like you're acting like a goober.
Yeah, but like I want to know the context as to like why they said it in the translation. I don't. But like, what are they translating as goober?
I have no. I don't fucking speak Japanese.
Oh
yeah. What did they what was doggo originally? Like, geez, that could be anything.
Doggo.
You know,
Wanchan.
And then the other one was Blue Box.
The other one was Blue Box, which is hilarious because I just watched that episode that day. I had like an easy day at work where it was like, oh, I have like nothing to do, so I literally just put on Netflix and I watched like 10 episodes of Blue Box that day. And the feminist line did catch my ear when I was watching it.
Yeah,
but it didn't make me think there was any kind of shenanigans happening with the translation, because in the context of that episode, it did fit.
Yeah.
And when the person said, oh, they added the word feminist, it wasn't here already, I did investigate because I was curious. Apparently, so to give you an idea of what the scene is, in that episode of Blue Box, the class is putting on a play. They're doing Snow White. And one of the boys says that they've changed the script from what Snow White normally is, and they've added a scene where Snow White meets the prince before she goes to sleep. That way, when he kisses her to wake her up, it doesn't seem as awkward because she's not being kissed by someone she never met before.
Right.
Because as the boy explains, he thinks that idea of waking up by getting kissed by someone you don't know is creepy. So he wanted them to meet and have a connection before she got put to sleep. And the female character, I think it's Hina he's talking to, says that's a very feminist perspective. And that doesn't sound incorrect.
No.
Like, that does sound like he literally vocalized Snow White.
Yeah. I think the alternate translation there is that's a very feminine perspective. And it's like, I don't know. That still means like the generally like same thing, honestly.
It generally does mean the same thing. And I know that the printed manga does say feminine. And apparently, I didn't get to look into this myself, but I was seeing an article they linked about it saying that originally the Netflix subs said feminine, and they changed it to feminist when the dub for Blue Box came out.
Okay. Because
Blue Box originally didn't have a dub on it. They dubbed it a little later, and when they updated the dub, they updated the subtitles. And I did check because Netflix offers you closed caption subtitles as well as accurate, I don't know what you call them, original subtitles, real subtitles maybe. So I checked both the real subtitles and the closed caption, and they are different, but they both use the word feminist. So it does seem like someone caught that and went in and actively changed it. That said, I don't see it as someone trying to push a political agenda, because within the context of the scene, it seems perfully fitting.
Yeah,
to say
with the episode, yeah. Well, I think it's literally just people see the word feminist and be like, feminism doesn't exist in Japan. Like,
it is interesting how I want to say every single one of these cases, it's either got to do with like, feminism or anything like even slightly left wing. When it comes to anything politically, anything progressive that people don't like. It's either that or like more modern slang being put into subtitles.
Yeah.
The modern slang thing always cracks me up.
Because slang does not exist in Japanese.
Yeah, it's like, well, what do you think that they're saying exactly? Like, this is like a timeless language that has no like no effect on like
Japanese has and Japan has existed for thousands of years, Mumi, and the Japanese language has also existed completely unchanged for thousands of years.
True. It's true.
Of course, and
I
it
think
is
that
the most conservative country in the entire world.
Yeah.
It is fairly conservative. I will give them that. But I think the issue is that when people hear the very modern slang, it immediately raises this flag of, okay, they definitely didn't say that. That's definitely an interpretation of a different word.
Right.
And that raises concern of, oh, okay, if they're being a little liberal with that, and I use liberal and not in the political sense, in the
just
sense
like,
of looseness. If they're being a little liberal with that, is it possible that important plot points are also being potentially interpreted wrong or interpreted loosely? So I think it just sort of sows seeds of doubt, which it honestly shouldn't. I think it's fair for shows, especially if they're shows that take place with modern characters or, you know, younger characters, to include some of that stuff. Especially, you know, sometimes I have seen dubs where they go a little too far with it.
Sure.
Stephen Foster, who is, you know, the man, the myth, the legend himself, you know, he's most famous for the Ghost Stories dub, but he's ruined plenty of other shows as well. He had a dub of Steel Angel Kurumi, which he ADR'd, and I didn't know going in that he had done the ADR for it, but I noticed immediately there was a lot of slang, and I was like, oh, they're like really laying on the slang thick. And then there was also cursing, and I was like, this, like, I think they actually dropped the F-bomb at one point. And I was like, damn, they're like going hard. And I look it up, and it's Stephen Foster, who's known for being very liberal with his, you know, ADR scripts. And immediately I'm like, okay, I don't think this dub has the integrity that I want from an anime dub.
Right.
And that's like okay, I need to switch to the subs.
Yeah. Well, that's like the other thing is people always point to like the Dragon Maid dub and stuff, and it's like, well, what about the sub? Or I know the recent one was like someone was like, don't support discotheque. They do the same thing, and the example wasn't it's
Lovely Complex.
Lovely Complex. I wanted to say Lapina, but it was Lovely Complex.
Right, and if you want to talk about the Lovely Complex situation, I did watch Lovely Complex before Discotheque's release. I watched it subbed in Japanese.
Yeah.
And then I did buy the Discotheque Blu-ray, and I watched the dub for comparison. And yes, Jello Apocalypse, the man, the myth, the legend himself, he did the ADR, and everyone knows the story. He bragged about how he was going to change things.
Yeah. It was a real piece of shit, like, honestly.
He does. He just shits on the show and talks about how he was making it better, which is like obnoxious as hell. And that is like that's funny enough. That is that is a common trait among people who do that kind of stuff, like the Stephen Foster, where it's like you get the sense that they adapt anime in a way that they want to sort of make it their own show. Right. And Jello Apocalypse, very similar. The thing with the Lovely Complex dub is that like the main conflict of the show is that there's two main characters, Otani and Risa. Otani is a boy, but he's really short and he feels inadequate because he's short. Risa is a girl and she's really tall and she doesn't feel feminine because she's a girl. And it's about these two characters who slowly start to fall for each other, even though they have these doubts about themselves because they don't live up to the expectations that society has placed on them because of their gender. And gender and the expectations of people of certain genders by society is a core it's a core theme of the show. Both the characters having anxiety that they don't live up to these standards, and then having to overcome those standards to feel confident in themselves. And watching the dub, you can tell that all of the scenes where the characters have these anxious moments of them just not feeling adequate, not feeling like they live up to the standards set by society, Jello sort of toned them down and made it so that like, oh, it's not, it's almost like he didn't want to acknowledge that characters feel like they have to live up to a certain standard because of their gender. The example I gave to Hayden when I talked about this is there's a scene where the character Risa talks to a boy, and the boy says, "I kind of see you as my hero." And she starts to think about, like, does that mean he likes me? Does he really? No, he couldn't like me. I'm tall. I'm a girl. No, guys don't want tall girls. They don't want girls that are taller than him. And she says, like, he said I'm his hero. Heroes are always boys, right? Yeah, no, he sees me as a boy. He thinks of me as a guy. That's like an actual scene that the character has.
Mm-hmm.
In the dub, she says, he said I'm his hero. And everyone knows I'd look bad in spandex. This is embarrassing.
Oh,
That's pretty.
That's really fucking cringe.
Yeah. It's I described it as he wanted all the lovely, no complex.
Just sap all it. It almost has like that. Who's the guy? Joss Whedon like writing style too, where it's just like can't have no sincerity allowed kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what's funny about this is everyone complains about Crunchyroll, and I asked for everyone is like it's like they act like it's a chronic, unavoidable kind of thing when it comes to the anime industry and subtitling and localization, when it seems very much avoidable because you can just not watch the dub for Lovely Complex, or just not watch Blue Box because there's a single word that was translated differently, or watch Medalist with different subtitles, like on Disney Plus instead of Hulu. And it's like,
yeah, that is something where, okay, if there is an accurate version that's easily available, for example, Dragon Maid, you can switch to the subs. And there's other issues with the dub other than that.
Yeah,
line.
well, it's like that doesn't mean like, that doesn't excuse the fucking problems with like the Lovely Complex dub or anything. What it does mean is that it's not like this we must destroy everything, basically.
Yeah, it's like throw the I don't cut off your nose to spite your face.
Yeah.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, they're like police officers. A few bad apples don't ruin the bunch.
Exactly.
We here at the Weeb Crew are pro cop podcast.
I'm sorry, we're pro what?
What?
We're pro cop. Didn't you love the red spectacles, right?
Yeah. And I was like, what?
Pro.
Oh, we are also pro cock.
Yeah. We here at the Weeb Crew love pat labor.
We also love You're Under Arrest.
It's true. You're Under Arrest is really fun. We need to finish that show still.
We're pretty close.
Yeah. So in the with the throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
The thing with that is, I don't know if people realize how much anime Crunchyroll subs and puts out.
That's why I always ask, what are you watching? Like, what are you seeing recently? Because as someone who watches a fair amount of anime every season, I've noticed some problems. Like, watching like Uchujin Mumu for some reason has just kind of bad subtitles on. Like, there are just some lines that are just like, that's awkward to read, and things like that. It doesn't really feel like a very high quality translation.
That's not Crunchyroll.
Some lines
right?
are. No,
That's
I don't know
like something
who's
else.
doing that one. Well, that's the thing. Is like the examples people gave were Blue Box, which is on Netflix, and then Medalist, which is on Hulu and Disney Plus. Neither of those are Netflix shows,
and those are both cases where I'd say that isn't the issue that they're upset with. Which the issue they're upset with is the going in and changing the intentionally or maliciously translating something in a way that's politically charged or sort of betrays the meaning of the show. And those two examples aren't really examples of that.
No, yeah. And if I would expect, given how many shows that come out every season that Crunchyroll is subtitling, if it was as big of a problem as they made it out to be, I would expect like every week to just have my timeline inundated with that sort of stuff. When in reality, it feels like either it's just not a problem, or no one.
It's very
really
much
cares
the
that
exception and not the rule.
Yeah.
But what's interesting too is like with Lovely Complex, it's definitely impeding on like more of the meaning of the show, like more important scenes of gender identity and everything like that, which affects the show in a much greater way. But when it's like Nagatoro saying sus, okay, it's one scene, it's one line, and it's a little bit funny, but it's an incremental scene
she's also like a
in a show
gyaru.
meant for teenager.
Yeah, well, and she's like a
Yeah.
Yato, so it's like, I don't know. Yeah, she would fucking use like Zoomer slang like that. That's
She would
believable.
say
I
that.
also I want to step back. I don't. Sus isn't even Zoomer slang. We've said sus for decades.
Yeah.
I won't even give them that
Literally,
much.
It's if like the Among Us meme like hadn't been a thing, and the line whistle translated as sus, it would probably just like no one would give a fuck.
No, and it reminds me, I was actually earlier today, I was watching the new episode of Lazarus, and they said yapping, and I'm like, it kind of triggers something in my brain because yapping is coming back as like a slang term now.
Yeah,
But like in reality, yapping has been a thing since the olden days,
that's like
right?
yeah, that's like something like old people used to say, like, "Hey, they're just yapping their gums off."
I use yapping in Akko.
Oh, you've vocalized it now?
Vocalized.
I did.
Wait, I thought Salaryman was the one handling the translation.
He does.
He
Um,
does like a rudimentary translation.
Yeah, so basically,
Payne takes the translation, vocalizes it.
yes, I make it
Mhm.
woke. I guess I should probably explain this. So
Yeah.
since the beginning of this year, I've started to run my own fan sub group with the intention of subtitling the 70s Toei Majoko anime. And I'll probably do some, scattered anime here and there too, just out of my own enjoyment. But basically, the Majoko anime that Toei made in the very early days is what I want to try to cover because no one wants to touch that shit. And, if no one else is going to do it, then it's going to be me. And so basically the way it works is that I'm an editor for Salaryman, Overworked Salaryman on YouTube. I edit videos for him and he watches episodes of Akko, translates them, gives me the script for it. And I tell him that he can be, pretty transliterate when it comes to writing the basic first draft of the script, because that's essentially what it is. So it's very transliterate. It's good enough for me to like be able to read it and then interpret it on my own. So I can then take that script and then, okay, well, how am I going to make this sound good in English? Because if you translate something from Japanese to English directly, it's not going to sound good.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, it'll be very stilted and awkward, which is something you see in a lot of fan subs who, really don't want to take any liberties.
Yes. Well,
which I see as a problem.
That's kind of the thing that I don't think a lot of people quite understand when it comes to translation, is that it's not just a matter of being bilingual and speaking, the languages that you are translating between, but kind of also need to be at least competent writer in your own right in order to be able to.
Well, yeah, like being a localizer or working in localization is just, you have to be a good writer. Yeah. And that goes into like translation too. Like working in that industry is just you're trying to be a writer and you're adapting the original Japanese script as faithfully and good as you possibly can into English. So you can, amplify the emotions and bring those over to people who don't speak Japanese.
And especially if we're doing like textual analysis, we can obviously say that like very literal translations obviously have value. But when you're making something that is meant to be consumed just strictly as a work of art, it's a matter of understanding the languages, understanding the artistic intent of what is being conveyed in that other language, and then having the skill to then translate that into something in English that makes artistic sense. And if you don't have any artistic talent and like a shitty vocabulary in English, even, you're not going to be able to really do that.
Yeah. Really, I think it's I feel like people who like really make things overly transliterate in their fan subs kind of I don't really see that as being super respectful of the original material, because it's just like badly not badly translating it as in, it's poorly translated, but it's poorly translated in the sense that like it doesn't read well in English, and you have to like overly like stuff it with translator notes and everything like that, like treating the audience kind of as an idiot sometimes. I was watching Heck Teacher Nube just earlier, and they had a translator note for fucking PE explaining that PE means physical education.
Oh my
and I'm
fucking
like,
God.
that's not even a Japanese thing.
No,
like,
that's not
who the fuck do you take me for? Like, I appreciate, this guy translating Nube, but like, god damn, come on.
I mean, episode 1 of Nube has, like, Nube says, let me show you my Oni no Te, and then it says translator's note, Oni no Te means demon hand.
and they do that twice. And then you said, like, one episode they'll say soccer because one of the main characters plays soccer, and then sometimes it'll be football.
Yeah, it seems like they had 2 translators, and one of them was unfortunately British.
Yeah.
And, well...
And like in cases like that, I think the real problem is more so maybe a lack of quality control and management. Because I'm very on hands with Akko, especially after this first batch. Like for the first batch, all I really did was just write the episodes and then apply, any fixes that Aochi, who does quality control for the episodes. Like that's all I would do. I wouldn't do any timing or anything like that. But then when a member of Enka Subs watched the first episode of Akko that we did, for criticisms, he he sent me this text document, just a wall of changes and criticisms and everything like that. And one of the first ones was like, what did he say? Something along the lines of like, yeah, the timing's pretty bad. Like, I don't know who timed this episode, but you should probably get rid of them. And I'm like, well, I got Salaryman to do it, and it's the first time he timed an episode, so yeah, you're probably not wrong, but like, I don't know, it's maybe a little bit mean,
a little bit too hard.
But
we'll just cut off a finger for now.
Yeah. I mean, he means well, obviously. And I want them to be as good as possible. And so for now, I've gotten even more hands-on, where like I have retimed all of the episodes. I've gotten some help from Izzy Boy as well. He's been the fucking MVP recently, like timing all of the new episodes. He's been helping me retime episodes from the first batch to make my life a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. But even then, like I still occasionally do corrections to his timing as well, to try to make them as good as possible. So it's a lot of work where you can like easily spend a third, half, an entire day on just one episode. People really take the amount of work that goes into subtitles for granted. And like, we're going at a rapid pace. A lot of fan subgroups, and they've probably been around for a really long time. So like, I can't blame them for being a bit slow with a certain series, but like, I remember talking to Shabes a while ago about the show called Baby and Me, Akachan to Boku, which I've been wanting to watch for like 9 years now. And they're the group that's doing the subtitles for it is still not done. Which, how
many episodes is it?
It's like 35 episodes, and I think they're in like the late 20s, and they told me they wanted to finish this year, which I'm a little bit dubious about, but they're doing it in their own free time, so whatever. Just keep going, please finish it. I want to watch the show.
The thing, like, there are so many shows coming out like every season now, and you can make a pretty good argument. It's like, fan subbing groups already back in the day struggled to put out decent quality subtitles on a timely basis. Like, originally, like, the idea was like you get fan subs, and those fan subs are basically something that are meant to like tide you over for the higher quality official release. Whereas now that paradigm has obviously shifted, and it's like Crunchyroll can just do simul subs, the day an episode comes out, and then you maybe if you want something a little bit higher quality than that, there will be like a fan sub release sometime later for certain shows, not every show per season. But now these people who are very much like anti-Crunchyroll, anti-localization are just like, fan subbers will just be doing everything. You can bring the argument, it's like, well, do you understand what that entails?
I don't think they realize how much they're asking. And people say like, oh, well, they did it before. And it's like, yeah, but
not really. Did they?
Not really.
Couple of things. Like, one, we weren't getting as much anime before. Like, since the 2010s, the amount of anime being produced has fucking skyrocketed.
Yes,
I remember I went through and calculated it once, and like from Astro Boy to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is less anime than Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood to, I forget what anime I marked at the end, but it was from 2021. I stopped at 2021.
Yeah.
There's more anime from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood to 2021 than from Astro Boy to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah. It's just been going up every year. And what people then would say is like, well, AI, if we can just have AI can just translate the anime and that solves the problem. It's like subtitles involve more than just translation. There's timing, typesetting, quality control, all these things that go into it.
I say this in good faith to people who feel that way. There is a subgroup called ARR. That's A is in Alpha, R is in Romeo, R is in Romeo.
Mm-hmm.
You should go look them up and watch some of their releases.
I mean, to be fair,
and then we come back and we start the discussion again from there.
To be fair, those are machine
I mean, if you're
translations.
asking for AI translations, that's basically what you're asking for.
Well, the
AI
argument,
translations where they occasionally pepper in slurs or opinions on vaccines.
the argument is
just dropping the hard N word.
They did do that.
the argument is like those are machine translations, which are different from AI translations. Like,
but
I have
even
seen
then,
people
it's
talk
like,
about that specifically.
so there's an episode of anime comes out. How are you getting that episode of anime? Where are you getting it from?
TV rip.
If it's on Crunchyroll, where are you getting it from? Oh, okay, it's a TV rip. TV rip goes up on Nya. You download the raw TV rip. How do you get like the script for that episode?
AI.
You auto transcript. You get like an auto transcript.
AI.
Because then you're relying on. So the AI is then listening to the anime to get the script. You then run that script that is already like the AI is listening to that audio and then having it translated into English using AI. How do you turn those into subtitles?
Subgroup.
And then,
it's basically doing, at least this is how I interpret it, like a similar process to how we do it. I don't think I've finished like the process, but basically Salaryman completes an episode, then that episode is timed by someone in my group, and then I go into that episode and write it to make sure that it's good in English, at least to the best of my abilities. And then I let one of my quality control people go through the episode, give me notes of it, anything like that, typos, or if I'm like way off mark about something, and then I'll fix those. And then I'll probably, fix up the timing a little bit, at the end, do final touches, and then the episode will be complete. I imagine it'll be probably a similar process to that, except you're just letting AI
translate it.
Translate it, which is, a little bit dubious. Maybe it can be fine if you're doing like a Doraemon or, some baby bullshit like that. Maybe it'll be fine. But if you're doing like, Chihaya Furu or Monogatari or something like that, I don't know.
It really helps to have someone who is actually capable of knowing the language there to at the very least check to make sure. And all of this then adds on time. So that means there's going to be a greater delay between when the episode is released, not just in Japanese, but because these people seem to only complain about English subtitles, I'm going to assume that it's just English subtitles that are the problem. And
that's all we know, because we're only viewing the English speaking space.
Right.
True.
There could be like Spanish speaking spaces that are complaining about the same thing. Just
maybe.
I know. I know that in the Spanish community, like I've heard complaints about the localization of Dragon Ball. The Spanish dub gets some of the names wrong. Which I mean, granted, the English dub gets plenty of the names wrong too.
Yeah. But still, we're going to assume then this is just an English thing. So then something comes out subbed in Korean, comes out subbed in French, comes out subbed in Spanish, etc. It's in Hindi. all these other languages, but if you speak English, you have to wait. Meanwhile, everyone else has already seen the episode and is now talking about it on Twitter and stuff. Oh, I just got spoiled on things. Because I other people didn't want to watch the localization.
Yeah, good luck avoiding the Japanese spoilers for friggin' G-Quacks.
So I think
I
think part of the problem is like the people that are making these arguments, they don't care about 95% anime. There's like, oh, well, there's too much anime anyway. Like they only care about like a free run or Apothecary Diaries, like whatever happens to.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how this would then translate to a system where only the select few are being translated, because then it's being basically curated before it even airs. So then you don't have like an Apothecary Diaries that has like a natural organic like popularity growth. Like would Apothecary Diaries have been chosen to be translated in an official capacity on the same level as like a free run if we were in a system where you had to choose from the offset what 10 anime are going to get translated? I don't know.
Or like even like,
but then that doesn't really make a lot of sense too, because
we've even recently seen like shows that went on to become acclaimed that were kind of disregarded at first, like Girls Band Cry. Didn't have an official way to watch it until like episode 10. And by that point, it was like, I remember the first official website to have it was like a Cambodian streaming site. And people were like, come on, guys, we got to support it. And I was like, okay, I like this show. I'll support it. And I tried to go to the website and it's fucking unusable.
Well, this is like a thing that happened a lot back in the day. I remember Hyoge Mono was like a very big thing because like it got a big kind of cultivated following, but it only got, I forget how many episodes they translated originally, and then the subgroup stopped, and then it didn't get fully translated for like over a year because like it was basically just like a heroic effort on like people like, oh, we really need to get this fucking finished translating because it was actually really good. And for a lot of people, that is like a cult class, like that is a really fucking good show. Like just my opinion, even that's like a fucking top 20 show for me. For it to have not. It didn't get an official translation, and it almost didn't have a fucking fan sub translation. And that was during like the peak age of fan subbing. That's like 2011. Like,
and well, the argument then people are going to make, and I know this because this was the argument people then made, is well 90% of anime sucks, so that means really only focus on the 10% that's good. Of course, the 10% that's good is the 10% that I watched. Basically,
that person
like that.
Watches.
That's it's
like sure, 10%. Let's do it by the 10% anime I think are good. How about that?
yeah. It's like, and then they try to be like, these fucking tourists are the one that are running, and it's like you're not. Yourself are just being like, actually, I don't really. People should watch less anime. If you watch too much anime, you're a fake fan or something like that.
That's the annoying thing is like they've made the whole argument about like translation and localization stuff politicized. And it's like, yeah, sure, there have been actors in translating community that have tried to inject their politics or whatever and have done so in a very clunky and poor
These are
way.
not invalid criticisms.
But it's like you're pointing to Dragon Maid because that doesn't happen much anymore. And then when you're like, oh, what are the bad translations now? 10
years old.
Yeah, it was like, well, what are the bad translations now? It's not someone being like, oh, the fucking patriarchy fucking me in the ass. It's someone saying goober. And it's like, okay, well, that's kind of silly, but that's not.
Or there are problems with fan subs as well, because believe it or not, I mean, fan sub groups also, if anything, fan sub drama might honestly be more vicious and petty than anything with like local, like official translations. Like I think back to Girls Band Cry being fan subbed.
So Jover.
And there were numerous debacles going on with like the fan subbing there. He was like, oh, this person stole my fan subs. Oh, this person didn't even do the proper translation. They just machine translated the French subtitles.
Another guy was like, I'm learning Japanese, so this is just like my first shot.
Well, people don't realize like when it's fan subbing, like we're going to be putting it in the hands of literal Zoomers who are, or even Gen Alpha people that are going to be injecting this shit in there because they're fucking 18, 21 years old. Like the people that are complaining are like in their 30s, like, anime didn't used to have this. Like, okay, well now you want more of it because Like Girls Band Cry only had a fan sub, and they put Jover in it in the first episode. So it's like,
yeah.
That's what you're gonna get. Like, it's only gonna get worse because the kids that are using that slang are gonna be the ones that are translating it. And then there's
I mean, the
using
thing
like,
with fan subs is that there's no regulations or anything like that. There's no guidelines. You can just do like whatever you want. So yeah, you can just drop a slur in a fan sub if you want. You know, who's gonna stop you?
Well, the argument is it's like capitalized, like a free market. So it's like, oh, well, if someone makes a bad translation of Girls Band Cry, someone can make a good translation. And it's like, that's what's happening now. And that's why there's not many fan subgroups, because they're just like, well, the Crunchyroll fucking simul subs are good enough. Like, they're not. There are fan subgroups that will now take that as a base and they will edit it. They still are active.
Look at all the fucking shit that has been going on with the official releases of Lazarus across, for some reason, multiple different versions that are not like literally animated differently somehow. And then you, of course, then have like various, like I think Kami is probably like the main one leading the charge on that. Although don't quote me on that.
Is Kami Subs still around?
Yep, Kami Subs is still around. Oh yeah, they're out there doing the Lord's work. And I know for a fact Kami Subs has never injected shit posts into their subtitles.
Oh, never. Ever. They're always super faithful.
Certainly not.
Just like every fan subgroup.
There are not multiple like
I
debates
I still thank them for introducing me to my favorite anime, the Iotena Onslaught.
They've done great mind you.
Oh,
this isn't like a baby the bathwater thing, because they've done great trades. Like Herx's stuff on Monogatari is like the best way to watch Monogatari, I would argue.
They have put in work, yes,
and that is a complete localization thing. Like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, localization, that's like the thing now, but like, you don't understand. Like, localization has been a thing far well beyond this whole era of like Gamergate argument.
Literally since anime was started being released in America in any capacity, official or unofficial.
I mean, probably.
Do you know what localization actually means? It's just like being able to make something watchable in English.
Well, so
it's
like
presenting it in English.
The big example of localization you would point to is going to be Fully Cooley, because like that is the one people watch the dub and they have like zero qualms with. But it's like they don't talk about Crystal Pepsi in the anime like Japanese. They're not talking about Crystal Pepsi. Sorry.
No.
That is. They're talking about another obscure Japanese drink from the 90s that you don't know. And if they didn't localize it to Crystal Pepsi, that is a poor translation in the fact that it is not telling you what they are saying, but it is a good translation in the fact that it's capturing the emotion that it's supposed to be evoking when they are referencing this 90s drink. Like, that is what localization is about.
Good localization is. It's being able to translate like the emotions of the original work and, you know, having it be conveyed in English.
And you look at
what I'm always going to argue with.
You look at like the non quote unquote non-localized I think Crunchyroll translations of Monogatari. And it is just like a literal translation. And it fucking kind of sucks. Because it's like,
there's like a continuing ongoing debate in terms of what translation of Monogatari is the best one. Like, which one should I watch? And like, there have been numerous like compilations of, we took these subtitles from this group for this batch of episodes, and then we used these subtitles from this group for this batch of episodes because they're actually better than these one. Yada 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 yada. It gets very confusing and very patchwork when it comes to releases of shows like that, because there's a case to be made. There's a pretty good case to be made, honestly, that having multiple translations of any work of art, you know, that it requires translation, is a good thing in terms of like different translations that are focusing on different things that have different sort of philosophical, you know, theoretical approaches when it comes to how to translate something. That is perfectly fine. That's like the foundation. Like, you look at any sort of like religious studies class, you look at any sort of like study of the classics or philosophy, you know, Hegel, Kant, whatever the hell, anything that's not in English. Yeah, multiple translations there are very valuable because there's no one way to objectively correctly translate. There are obviously ways to translate something incorrectly, but there are many ways as well to translate something in a way that is completely valid. And I think those translations have every right to exist. The problem that you then run into then is you then have people say that this is the only correct translation that should exist. And it's like, hold on, time out. Let's roll that back a little bit.
It is kind of funny that this has been an argument since like the fucking translation of the Bible, if not before that.
Oh yeah. Oh god. I mean, we talk about like localization drama. We talk about things with anime and video games and all that. Literal wars have been fought over this exact topic when it comes to translations of religious texts. So it's like, you know, we are but motes of dust when it comes to this topic. Honestly,
it is very funny to think about that. Like, They preserve a lot because like you could localize shit in like the Bible or something, but like it is like
many people have.
People will like preserve it as like a historical document as opposed to like a fictional document or whatever. And so like when they talk about like cubits, I mean,
Cubics, robots.
Yes, of course. Cubics, of course. The classic Korean CG television show.
Sorry,
prophesized by Ezekiel.
Yeah, sorry, I stuttered. When I talk about cubits, like, yeah, it is worthwhile to like maintain that because that's like a historical authenticity because like of the time period. That is the unit of measure, and so like translating it to like feet would be fucking kind of weird. Like there probably are translations that do translate
like the
feet.
new international version is like the one that like really tries to just make it as intelligible to someone who is just like a baseline English reader,
right?
Essentially, you know, multiple like I mean, there are literal like guides on like here is every main translation of the New and Old Testaments, and these are the ones that are like as accurate to the original text in either Hebrew, Greek, or Latin, whichever ones that we have like the oldest versions of. And it's like on a sliding scale up to like, these are the ones that take the most liberties to translate it into something that would like almost like colloquial English, like in the modern day.
Right. But yeah, people,
which also still has like, yeah.
I was like, I'm more annoyed of people like politicizing this shit inside of the space. Cause like, yeah, those people existed. They're not around anymore, really. Like these things are not like you can make an argument, I guess, like, oh, they're not doing it because we may make an outrage about it, but it's like y'all are still making an outrage about it, and they're already kind of gone. Like they're not. Again, this isn't like a thing that's like that prevalent.
As there are more and more anime coming out, there are fewer and fewer examples every season, seemingly.
Like if you want to call out every single Jello like apocalypse when they come out, like that's valid, that's fair. Go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, fucking crucify that guy.
But like if you're gonna do it every time there's a fucking translation discrepancy, where you're like, this should have been feminism, or sorry, feminine of you, not feminist of you. This is injecting politics. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't want to fucking get into this argument every fucking time someone like translates something slightly different from what you think it should be translated.
Yeah.
Like this is not
again.
I
find it so
argument.
funny how every single time, like if it has to do with politics, it's always like, if it's like, you know, something feminist or anything progressive, and these people say, you know, don't inject politics into my anime, but then like you go to their profile and they're like very clearly, very obviously just a blatant like neo-Nazi.
Oh,
just like an actual Nazi.
I mean, what if you want to be a neo-Nazi and watch anime? I don't give a shit. Like, don't inject it into my anime.
All
but
the more power to you.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, I understand. I'm not gonna like discredit someone for being a piece of shit on the grounds of like what their argument is. Like, if your argument is like, oh, you have ruined the visage of Dragon Maid because there's a patriarchy referenced with the character that would not know what the fucking patriarchy is. Like, even if you steel man that translation, it's not a great translation. Like, it is bad. Like, it's like, okay, fine. You being a Nazi or a commie, whatever the fuck you are, it doesn't change whatever the fuck that translation is, if it's good or bad or not. Like, but the fact that we have to like inject politics into like the people that do nothing but talk about fucking politics on Twitter and then are like, oh, I don't want these people in my anime space. It's like, what anime space are you in? You're not talking about anime. You don't even watch anime. You watched Frieren. Congratulations. Everyone and their fucking grandma watched Frieren 2 years ago.
Well, the example I always like to point to is the classic Colonel Otaku Gatekeeper. And it's like Colonel Otaku. Okay, cool. They must like otaku, like video games, anime, manga, all these sorts of things. You scroll through their account, and it's like, where's the anime? This is it's funny they large to be Japanese, but they are British.
He is a British guy that pretends to be a Japanese guy. Yeah, that says that Japan needs to be more conservative, and he's definitely not a British guy LARPing as a Japanese guy.
I don't. What are they? What anime? What are they like? What are they?
He likes my videos. He tweeted about me once.
Oh, well, I guess there's that. And I don't talk about. Oh, here's something about anime. This is just about the fucking Hollywood thinks anime.
I just want to point out, woke Crunchyroll has this on their streaming site right now.
What is it? Hold on.
I just needed to double check if that was there, and it was.
America. What the fuck is this?
That is the greatest image I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's from Angel Cop.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, like I don't really care what people on Twitter say, but like as far as the translation discourse, I think it's weird to throw Discotheque under the bus for the Lovely Complex dub when that was clearly made by an independent contractor who
is now blacklisted from the industry.
Who has now been blacklisted from the industry.
They foot gun themselves.
Well, again, like steelmanning that argument is like they were only blacklisted from the industry because people made a stink about it. But it's like you have to focus this stuff in where it's appropriate. If we're making like broad stroke arguments of like, oh well, this entire thing is worthless because one or two examples I can point to where it's like legitimately fucking in bad faith or malicious, whatever you want to say, just trying to inject something in there that doesn't really belong or is not really accurate to a character or whatever. And then you augment that with like a good number of like modern examples. So everything that like maybe it doesn't pass. Maybe you like catch a whiff of like, oh wait, was that maybe a taking a liberty? And then so you just run in guns a-blazing. There was an issue with quote unquote issue. I mean, there was a Spy Family scene where the character Frankie was complaining about how he doesn't get dates because he's not as cool as Lloyd, which is very in character for that character if you know Spy Family. Mm-hmm. And there was a push to be like, oh, they're trying to inject they're trying to portray him as an incel. And it's like, that's absolutely not what the subs are saying. And like their explanation, they're like, look at how different the Amazon translation is. And it's like, yeah, because you're fucking comparing the actual subtitles to the closed caption subtitles. So yeah, they're going to be worded differently. You shouldn't go guns a-blazing on a fucking that is a non-issue. Then there are ones like Stephen Foster, all of his ADR stuff where it diverges. And it's just like, yeah, like fuck him. He shouldn't be adapting it. Like it's not even just the Ghost Stories dub. He's done other dubs. Like Steel Angel Kurumi is one thing, but then like the second half of his Guen Saga dub is a parody dub for no reason. Like he dubbed half of Guen Saga. I guess it didn't do well. The second half of the anime is a gag dub for no reason. Did the Japanese rights holder tell you to make Guen Saga a goofy fan dub too? No. You look at stuff like, and so the thing is that like I think that it is okay to criticize these things and you should call them out, but it's like we need to first understand that the first step isn't jump in guns a-blazing. It's identify, is this actually a mistranslation or is it a deliberate mistranslation or is it was it a mistake in the translation or is it just like that's actually what the character's saying? And I think that people don't try to identify it first. No. When that is like an important part. For example, I went through I wish he could have been on the podcast here. I'm sure he could have had way more examples than I could give, but
I went through Dimitri's video on bad localizations, and most of it was video games. So I admit most of it is like, I can't really.
Yeah,
I know nothing about the space for the.
I'm going to stay in my lane and say I don't really know anything about video games or translating video games or manga. Even I'm an anime guy.
But one thing they brought up was the Shaman King manga had a scene where Anna, who is Yo's fiance, says, "Oh, these guys are acting homophobic," and I was like, "Okay, that." I know a little bit about Shaman King. That seems like a weird line. So, but before I said anything, before I got my AR-15 and started shooting people,
as you do,
you're American, as every American,
as every American has.
For our international listeners,
for our international listeners, that is an assault rifle.
Maybe unfamiliar with American culture, you get an AR-15 when you turn 15.
Yeah, it's like a bar mitzvah, but you get it.
Yeah. And then the next year you're allowed to drive.
So, I decided, I was like, okay, I'm curious now. That does seem like an out of place line. And so I actually downloaded the Shaman King manga in Japanese. And I found the page. It's like page 167. It was pretty early, which is pretty early on for Shaman King. And I sent that over to my translator and I was like, hey, can you tell me like what this panel is saying? And they gave me like what the rough translation was, and it was like, okay, yeah, she didn't mention homophobia, and I looked it up, and this translation where she says these guys are acting homophobic is from a 2021 re-release. I checked the release that was available prior from Viz, and that line also didn't have the word homophobic there. So I think it's fair to say like, okay, this was maybe taking a bit of a liberty. And just to give context, the scene is that two male characters meet for the first time after a while, and they immediately just start fighting because that's how they like, oh, we're brothers. This is what we do. We fight, And she says like, oh, guys are so thick-headed. They don't know. They couldn't even greet each other without breaking into a fist fight.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, like, in the context, saying it's homophobic is kind of a leap. And that does add like a political angle that doesn't really belong. And I do think that's an instance of like a weird translation. Now, I looked through the manga, that translation up to that chapter, just so I get to that line. And I didn't notice anything else that really stuck out to me as being, I think it's an isolated incident, but that is a weird thing to put into that translation.
Even like innocuous things that aren't really necessarily political can still then also just lead to vastly different interpretations of the scene. Like my go-to example here is going to be Orb, specifically the fact that in the anime, at least, or the subtitles that we initially watched, in the manga and some English translations of the manga, as well as the subtitles, it is Kingdom of P is just translated as Poland, which then led me and other people to then believe that, okay, this is taking place in not a fictionalized alternative version of Poland, but Poland. When in reality, if you look at the manga, if you actually look at the text on screen in the anime, which, I don't know how they fucked that up. It just flat out says Kingdom of P. It's like this is very clearly not. This is not Poland. And later on in the manga, minor spoilers, when it does take place in Poland, you just see in katakana it just says Poland. So it's like. Is stuff like that is like,
is Poland supposed to be, is it supposed to be like a reveal where they give you like a fake name, but then it's like, it was actually our world all along.
Yeah, it's sort of. So it's not exactly clear, but
yeah, it's supposed to be like these events could have happened or they could not have happened, because like it does end up being about like Copernicus in some kind of
roundabout
way.
Yeah, it's a very sort of kind of, it's a little bit up to your interpretation kind of ending. And which I've seen multiple different interpretations on the ending, kind of based at least partially on that weird sort of translational error. And there is a case to be made that there is just a chronic skill issue when it comes to translating anime, in part due to the fact that companies like Crunchyroll pay translators very, very little. High quality translators are obviously going to be doing, because they are more qualified, going to be doing, work where that just naturally pays more. So they're kind of not necessarily getting maybe the best translators. They are also being given very, very little time. I'm not entirely sure how much time they are given between the release of an episode and like when they actually get the episode. But given that, even some TV anime are only fully completed maybe a day, if not hours before that episode is meant to air, they probably don't necessarily have a ton of time to really go through and do a translation.
Is that really a thing much anymore?
No, that's the thing, is that I don't think that's as common as it used to be, maybe.
As it used to be. But even still, like, they're probably still like, they probably don't have a ton of time to translate, and then you have to time everything, yada yada, like the whole process in order to get it out on like a timely basis. And we have just seen Crunchyroll just fuck up subtitles. Like, what the fuck was it? Was it G-Quux? Or it was G-Quux.
It's Amazon Prime.
Oh, was it on Amazon Prime? But still, not necessarily Crunchyroll. General industry problem where the subtitles for the next episode were the subtitles being used for that episode. Was that it? What show am I thinking of? It wasn't G-Quux. There was a show.
The subtitles in G-Quux were pissing me off because, like, usually in these debates, like the actual translation choices are what people tend to focus the most on. Very few people actually talk about the timing of the subtitles. And
God.
G-Quux didn't really have any rhyme or reason to its timing. Like, ideally, if a character is going on like a run-on sentence, you're supposed to chain those lines together, and then ideally you want to cut the line on the scene transition, and so it's just easier on the eyes, easier to follow, everything like that. G-Quux does not do that. Nube also does not really have any rhyme or reason to its timing. So like, this is not just a like an official translation thing. This is also a fan sub thing. Granted, like, fan subbers, they have the potential to be a lot better, both in terms of translation and timing and just, everything like that, but it's going to take a lot more time.
Funny enough, I think that's one of the things Crunchyroll does great, is that I was just going to say, like, Crunchyroll's timing is fucking impeccable. Like, yeah, their
so
presentation,
easy to read, so well presented. It's really immaculate, and you really take that for granted when you just watch a lot of anime. But like, having gotten into fan subbing myself, this stuff like stands out to me so much more. Like, even before doing fan subs, like, it would bother me when fan subbers like wouldn't give a line enough time on screen, or they would have like if you have a line that stretches across like the entire screen, ideally you want to break that up into another line, and so you make that a little bit more centered, and so you can just read the first part of that line and then the second part of it a lot easier, instead of just like having your eyes scan across the entire screen, because then your eyes are just like it becomes really hard to follow.
Yeah, having the wrong episode subs on the wrong episode's a pretty common thing. Like, I'm seeing it happen.
Maybe it was Momentary Lily. I'm trying to it was definitely some show like recently where the subs for the next episode were the subs for that episode just released accidentally, and then had fixed.
I generally watch shows. Like, if a show is on a streaming service that I own, I will generally watch it, because I am a weird person who doesn't like watching anime on their computer. I like to sit in my living room and watch it on my TV. So I have Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Prime Video rather, Crunchyroll. I have all of the apps for legally watching anime, and none of them do subtitles as well as Crunchyroll. And I think it's because Crunchyroll is obviously an anime dedicated app, so they have that shit down. Watching Witch Watch, that's a good tongue twister, on Netflix is abysmal, because their subtitles don't have an outline or a drop shadow. So like, if there's a white surface, which that show has a lot of bright colors, oh my god, the text just becomes invisible for a couple seconds. It's terrible. Yaiba. I mean, even Yaiba has some scenes where the subtitles are hard to read.
God forbid there are multiple characters talking at once or something going on in the background and it's all subtitled on the same line. It's like,
if you're doing AI subs, good luck with those scenes.
Or there's plot crucial text on, and they just decide, we weren't going to sub the on-screen text.
Yeah. Like where there's like a text
it's like
message to each other.
I think it was Shin Ultraman had that issue where Anno loves to do big text on screen, and the original subs for Shin Ultraman, the official subs, didn't subtitle the text on screen. It's like that's a part of the movie. People are silly, man.
It's like these are. Here's the thing. These are not the examples that become hot button issues because. I mean, they're not politically contentious.
Shin Ultraman did. They did re-release it. They did have to re-release it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, a lot of it is just kind of like, that's embarrassing. Didn't we when we watched Day to Day? Wasn't that also like dub titles or something? There was something weird with the subtitles there as well.
Yeah, like the first two episodes. Day to Day was
super hard to read for me because like, I just mentioned like if you have a line that goes across the entire screen, you want to break that up. So everything becomes more centered.
Yeah.
Every single line in Day to Day is broken up into two. And so what that does is for like shorter sentences, like that's a lot easier to just read as, one straight line. If you break everything up, then it's just going to be confusing.
I think it really just comes across like a lot of the people who do complain do not necessarily understand how tedious and laborious subtitling something actually is, even beyond just the translation stuff, just getting everything to work. And I mean, it's like, I think, I don't know if we talked about this when Robert Woodhead was on, but I know like it definitely came up when we were like doing research for that episode. Like people obviously come to him an Anime Ego and are like, hey, I would love to like work on like a release or something. And he's like, it's a bad idea. But if you really want to, here's how this sausage is made. And it's like just a very tedious and frustrating process. And like, it's like, oh yeah, kind of regret getting involved now, but I'm in too deep.
Like getting something licensed or getting into like working on subtitles.
Like working on subtitles. Like he was like,
especially with Robert Woodhead. Robert Woodhead was doing it the analog way, right?
Oh yeah.
I think people.
But even now, like he was like telling us about like how like some days he would just be doing things like the audio and like the frame rate would be like slightly off or something. So every like few minutes or few seconds, however many frames later, he would need to like cut a single frame so it didn't like run, like it didn't get mistimed as a result.
Oh God, I'd kill myself.
Really, just incredibly
I cannot imagine doing that like analog, even just using AGSub. Like I've talked to John about this several times and the rest of my team, but like, oh my God, I fucking hate AGSub so fucking much. It's the worst fucking program on the fucking face of the earth. And what sucks is that like you can do subtitles in an editing program like DaVinci. Okay, great. Like I'm an editor, I can do this. Okay, so I retime the first episode in DaVinci just to like try it out and try to get the ball rolling, and I export the subtitles and everything is fucking mistimed by a couple frames, and I'm like, how is this even possible? So like I was spending hours, days, weeks like trying to fix that shit in DaVinci. Not literally weeks trying to fix one episode, but like I would keep coming back to it and be like, how the fuck do I fix it? And then I eventually just caved in and did everything in AGSub, which even that like it still fucking pisses me off. Like, especially when you're doing it the way I am. Like, Akko is not a particularly well-directed anime. Mm-hmm. So it does a lot of cuts. So let's say two characters are talking to each other. There almost all the time there's going to be a cut when the other character starts talking. So I talk, it's on my scene, you talk, it's on your scene, and it just keeps going back and forth like that. And like that's, you know, fine, whatever. It's kind of like how a lot of TV does it. But the problem is that run-on sentences will like go into the next scene. Like there's a lot of that. And then when you do subtitles, like if you're just timing the subtitles to the line and you don't really care about the scene transitions or anything like that, you know, it's fine. Whatever. You can manage it. It's going to be a lot more difficult to look at, but it's going to be functional enough. But if you take that into consideration, then you have so many more things that you have to think about. So if I have a character that is saying a line, and then the scene cuts, and it's like at the end of that character's, you know, the final syllable of the final word, like goes over the scene transition or whatever. Okay, do I cut that on the scene transition, or do I cut it on, you know, when the character actually finishes speaking? And that becomes like a decision that I have to make as the timer, as the video editor. And again, it's one of those things where like you watch the episode and nothing, you know, everything seems fine, you know, whatever, but actually like doing it yourself, it is so much work, and you have to make so many like little micro decisions that add up over time. And again, you know, you can spend an entire day working on one episode. And, you know, I'm working on this for like 7 hours straight. Like I am not a fucking mentally well person like doing this shit. Again, like for some groups, it takes them a full year to do a single episode. I try to complete episodes in a single day, in less than a full day, because I also have my own videos.
There are subgroups that are still like organized and can do like releases. Like, I mean, Inca Subs is putting out Marco Polo the next day, and their subs have been like consistently good.
Yeah, Inca's really good, and there are a lot of really, you know, great subgroups that have the manpower and everything to manage this kind of workload. But and that's kind of the point is like it's a lot. It's a lot to consider. It's a lot to take in, and it's something that no one appreciates except for the people who actually make it. Yeah,
and that's kind of the thing is like a lot of fan subgroups have moved away from subtitling shows that are currently airing because companies like Crunchyroll are just picking them up and doing a good enough job subtitling them, and now they're instead focusing on this wealth of anime that have like just never been subbed and likely just wouldn't be commercially viable for release even through some like a company like a Discotek or an Anime Ego. So it's just like these will basically never be officially translated in any capacity. So it makes the most sense then to focus on those things.
I think you have to be careful.
Yeah, and I mean that's why I started my. Do you want to go?
I was gonna say there's a false dichotomy there because these fan subgroups would be doing older shows. Like we're not cannibalizing fan subgroups that would have been doing new shows that are doing older shows. I imagine if you asked Inca, they're not going to be like, oh yeah, we would be translating the newest Precure if no one else was translating it. We're translating this though. Like I think that's a false dichotomy. The people who would be focused on like new shows would be focused on new shows, but they can now focus on like they're not even really anybody that's like fan subbing something that's not. I mean, you got like a girls band cry. Occasionally, someone will pop up.
I mean, you will have fan subgroups. I guess is the one
this season.
Yeah, Princession Orchestra, like iPre, stuff that isn't being put on Crunchyroll or something like that. You will have like fan subgroups working on that. But again, those are like exceptions now. You know, back in the day, you told me like 10 groups would work on Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes. Yeah, that's original 2003.
Yeah, and that to me seems like such a waste of manpower because that's really what this like boils down to. Because people were fan subbing old shit, you know, way back when. and that never really changed. But now specifically, because we know so much more about anime, like we have more resources, thanks in part to like Crunchyroll picking up almost every single show, and basically every single show being officially translated with like a couple exceptions. Which even then, like not every single show is getting translated. All of the baby bullshit shows, they're probably never going.
I was honestly surprised even Puniru got subbed.
Yeah, that's definitely would have gotten
now.
fan subs though.
Well, I think why you got like so many like Brotherhood translations, because there was more of that economy of like, I want to have the best translation. I want to have the E points for having the best release of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood specifically, because I love Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Like I remember Bake was also one,
and
of
that
those.
was definitely just pure friendly competition that did not lead to any petty drama or just bullshit ever.
Well, it's good that we don't have that shit.
Fuck Miami Mike. His Dragon Ball subs are shit.
It's good we don't have that, because like it was mainly the differences were like in typesetting a lot of the times, because they weren't using like vastly different translations. They might have been like, oh, I think this word sounds a little bit more organic or something, but it wasn't.
How do you translate honorifics or not?
In my Death Note subs, the T's are crucifixes. So
That's the kind of thing you'd be getting if you had like 12 fan subgroups translating one new show. You would get the crucifix T's. But I don't know, I think like the main thing I always try to impress on people is because like a lot of this is just part of the outrage economy. Like,
oh yeah,
in the sense,
that outrage economy. If everything was being fan sub, then that outrage economy would just then shift to that.
Right. Well, but when people like you look at these like,
listen, all right, Rev says Desu has like a family and stuff. That's his primary form of income. He needs to like feed his family.
I don't care that these people like do these videos, right? Like there's an ask and they're supplying. It's the free market or whatever, right? Like people want to watch this shit. You're producing this shit, fine. Who cares? But I think the problem is people don't, they kind of like in-group themselves with like people that are like perceived as agreeing with them. And so someone like an Asmongold or Rev Says Desu is good for, like, if you have a complaint against the Dragon Maid dub, and it's like, hey, this company is doing this, and I feel like I'm unable to impact any change. You go to like one of these people and they just kind of will parrot like the sort of just the
what people on Twitter
take,
have already been saying about it.
No, like I would say like the common sense take or whatever. You're just like, what? They said patriarchy. That's just kind of stupid, because I can't imagine an anime
as like a
girl saying
complete
patriarchy.
outsider to the matter.
Yeah, and it's like that. There's a utility to that. I'm not gonna fucking just completely say that there's not. But these people are outsiders of the fucking like community. They don't watch. Asmongold does not watch anime. Like he might watch My Hero Academia or something, but like
I don't even think that. I mean, maybe. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what's like the one show he said he watched, and then I'm giving up watching. It might have been My Hero Academia. Actually,
My Hero Academia.
It might have been that long ago
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you are utilizing a tool that is not really in your group, and a lot of these people don't like. A lot of them are kids, and a lot of them are people that are just kind of new to anime anyway. So that might not necessarily be something they're thinking about or they care about all that much. Like, okay. Yeah, Asmongold doesn't watch anime.
It's a cause to rally behind because they don't have anything else going on.
Right. But the problem then becomes, because someone like Asmongold is not in the space, he's not necessarily advocating for the best thing of anime. He's advocating essentially for what his audience is kind of pushing on him in a way.
Yeah, what the information that they have relayed to him.
Right. So like
which then becomes a really big problem, because there's not really much in the way of like the opposition, like people trying to actually inform, about the philosophy of subtitles or translation or
like
whatever. And when they do pop up, people from
Just shut 'em
Asmongold's
down,
or whoever's following, they just automatically attack it because they assume that, you work for Crunchyroll and you put woke in your subtitles like people did for me. They just assumed that I work for Crunchyroll because I don't automatically demonize localization.
Yeah,
Just the idea
it becomes a very
of it.
partisan issue.
The
Becomes
problem
very
is
like in group out group kind of thing.
this is not necessarily like a politics, like, and there's aspects of politics that are like you have to have expertise to kind of navigate or understand, but a lot of it is just
Sure.
like kind of reflective of like the majority in the US at least, right? Like, so if the majority just kind of is like, I want this thing, that's kind of the popular mandate or whatever the fuck. So like that kind of works for like a streamer in that sense where you're like, okay, I'm just kind of parroting the popular mandate. In something like translation, the popular sort of thing that people just say is not necessarily the correct thing because people don't have any kind of like background or any kind of understanding of what translation or like localization even is or does or how you do it. So just kind of going by what people say they want is not necessarily what should be done. You know what I mean? Like, that's not saying you should inject just shit that's not in the show and just kind of make a whole new translation, do like a fucking Ghost Stories dub situation. Like, no one wants that shit. Ironically, I think a lot of the people that are rally against this shit will oftentimes kind of prop up a Ghost Stories dub, but that's neither here nor
Well,
there.
it's funny because Ghost Stories, it completely trashes on the original intent of what is, a pretty good show. But you see, Ghost Stories, the guy says, think of a big black man chasing you. And you see, that's funny because it's a bit edgier than saying patriarchy. And so that's a good
Then
dub
it gets a pass,
because
yeah.
they made it funny. They made it funny for me.
But yeah, people just need to be careful because it's like the things that these people are saying are not coming from the place of like someone that's concerned in the community. It's coming from some people out in the community, maybe even on the fringes or outskirts of the community, complaining to this individual who are in their audience. And then this individual kind of just parroting the common sense layman opinion or something. And y'all rallying behind it. And it's like, yeah, there's a utility to that. Like I said, if you feel fucking voiceless against like a corporation and you're like, you want some change, like that would be a way to go about it. But at the same time, it's like rallying for the death of the entire like subtitling infrastructure and like translation infrastructure is like, what are you doing?
It's like, oh, I mean, again, that's perfectly fine if you're just like not really interested in like you don't watch that much anime or you don't watch that much like newly airing anime. But then again, it's also like, well, this isn't really an issue that impacts you that much, is it?
Yeah, you don't watch anime.
But again, like it goes back to like they're not thinking about the actual like realistic practicality of this because let's say Crunchyroll goes under, like they're no longer around and we don't have official subtitles the day they come out, the episodes come out in Japan anymore. Okay, so everything goes back to the community now. Okay, well, first of all, everything is going to be a lot slower because they don't have the episodes in advance. They're going to translate the episodes as they're airing. So while you might get episode 1 while episode 4 is out, for example, where's this manpower going to come from? In this economy? Are you kidding me?
In this economy?
Like it's not going to just pop up overnight. Like that is friggin' ridiculous. And if it was such a massive, like colossal issue with anime, like these Crunchyroll subtitles just vocalizing everything or whatever you want to say about them, why wouldn't people be doing this already?
They would.
If it's such a problem, fucking go into the scene and fix shit yourself.
People who...
But you don't want to, be a part of it because you just want to have everything for free and you don't want to work for anything,
Well, that's kind of the thing.
Like,
is people are like
the manga dex thing that just happened recently. Like you just want manga for free. You just want them to be like on a website where you can freely download them and not like using torrents, because that would actually be like supporting the community by being a part of it.
Or it's just like, I don't know how the torrenting is work. I don't want to do work. Well, it's like, if it was as easy now as people are basically saying that it is to just translate anime using AI and produce subtitles, okay, do it. You would almost then, if it was as widespread of a problem.
I just want to say, I love AI translations. That's why I watched every episode of Retro Crush's release of the Three Musketeers anime.
Was that seriously AI translated?
Yes, and it's full of like misspellings and like horrible sentences. Like Retro Crush has shows. Retro Crush and Tubi both have shows where they just had like AI machine translations. I don't. Is there
wasn't Dr. Slump like that too? The 90s one.
Possibly. I haven't looked at it for myself, but I know I heard that one had not great subs.
I don't know why people are advocating for this shit anyway, because by the time we get like AI that can just perfectly translate stuff very quickly, we're just gonna have shit that you just put in your ear and it translates it automatically. So it's like, well,
yeah, it's gonna be. We won't even be reading. It's like a laser beam that you eat, and then it like injects the anime into your brain.
You have a USB stick, like a USB port in the back of your head, and you can just like hook in and just watch the anime instantly.
I mean, they already have like the earbud thing that translates in real time. That's that's like the thing like you see like they use like the UN or whatever. Right. But it's like that's not AI. So or the ultimate end goal is AI would be able to have like a level of intelligence that it'd be able to understand the language better than current machine translation models. So it'll then be able to translate it more accurately, realistically, like
I wonder
90 to 99% more accurately. Which that's like a year's thing. That's not like going to happen tomorrow. But there's not really much of a point in advocating for like a machine translation like economy when it's like that's just going to happen and you're not going to need subtitle economies. So,
do you think that Crunchyroll is going to have AI live dub their awards ceremony next week?
That would rule.
That probably would just be better than having some poor guy panicking and struggling to keep up with what people are saying as it is being told to him live. What the fuck is wrong really with you, funny. Crunchyroll?
And then like someone says a like cuss word in Japanese or something, and it just translates into like the most horribly offensive thing ever.
Like a Korean slur just gets translated into like the R N word. That'd be crazy to start dropping slurs at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards.
I mean, they do it every year. I don't know what you mean.
Oh, do they? I guess I don't speak Japanese, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Crunchyroll itself, that is a slur to some people.
You fucking listen here, you fucking roll.
Oh no!
You can turn anything into a slur if you say it with enough vitriol behind it. What do you
against Jelly Roll? What did he do to you?
I mean, he molested me as a kid.
Oh, you too?
Yeah, Jelly Roll. He was on a fucking song.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
That shitty Lonely Road song by fucking MGK.
Yeah, I mean that's an appropriate thing to call someone a roll slur for.
Yeah, this isn't the first
time. I don't think anyone
we...
else in this call knows what I'm talking about.
No, I have no fucking idea. Honestly, have we exhausted everything we want to say about this topic?
I mean, I thought we exhausted everything we want to say about this topic last year.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this hasn't been the first time we talk about this. It might be the last. Probably won't be. I mean, unless we have someone on that actually like is willing to like have a like disagree with us and have more of a conversation about it. Because I mean, let's be real. This has been kind of
a circle jerk,
kind of a circle jerk. But it's like
that's why I was like, well, if we get someone to disagree, I would want to do it. That's the only reason
But Dimitri didn't want to come on.
Dimitri didn't want to come on. We've reached out to Chibi Reviews before. He didn't want to come on. I don't think Rev really watches anime, so I don't know what to talk to Rev about.
See, I think I was giving an opposite viewpoint where I am much more like, yeah, if we do see things like that, we should call them out. But like, I think the first, like, don't skip the first step of let's identify, was this actually done maliciously? And
let's actually check to see if it's a mistranslation at all.
Like, yeah, like, and then, okay, is this worth like calling out?
Yeah. But it's way more easier to just do it on Twitter and not do any research, and then you get like 1 million views and like 100,000 likes or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if you were
doing actually having to do research. Research does not matter, John.
All I'm saying is,
All
we
right.
started this
Okay.
podcast off. I said death to Crunchyroll, so
This is true.
I don't think you were going nearly extreme enough to be an opposite point. I think we're so
Well,
clearly.
they do have Angel Cop with accurate subtitles, so I can't hate them that much.
That'd be
True.
fun. That'd be really funny if they did just sanitize the anti. Is Lazarus the most anti-Semitic
like some
anime?
kind of bullshit like MAGA anti-Trump translation.
Oh,
Being read by the bad orange man. Like what the
oh
fuck?
God. Oh,
That would be a political
Nah,
shitstorm on Twitter. You need to maintain the original vision of being anti-Jew.
yeah.
Well, the original VHS release of Angel Cop did remove that. They did intentionally translate it differently.
It is like a situation where it's like, this is fucking horrible. Do we maintain it for artistic integrity's sake and condemn it, or like how do we
Genuinely, I don't know if people will believe this, but I know Angel Cop because of the dub. The dub is like famous for all the cursing, and so when Discotech put it out on Blu-ray, I was like, "Oh, nice! That it'll be funny to put on with friends." But I was watching it dubbed with the subtitles on just so I could see how different the dub dialogue was, because they just went crazy back in the day.
Yeah.
And then when I got to that last episode, I was like, what the fuck are they saying? When she says, like, America is being controlled by the Jews. And I'm like, holy shit, what is that? And then I realized that the opening has a disclaimer where it's like, we do not condone the opinions of this series. And I was like, I just thought they meant because, the dub has a bunch of cursing in it. And it's like, no. There's like
no, it's profoundly anti-Semitic.
Yeah, the special features actually explain how the protocols of anti-Zion was like becoming a thing in Japan, and because there was such a small Jewish population, there was really no one to debate it, and so it just was something that was getting passed around freely with like no opposition to it.
Yeah, did you hear about the Elders of Zion? It's like, what is that? Is that something related to Evangelion?
It is.
I mean, that's why Evangelion really kind of became a thing. Not necessarily the Elder Zion thing, but like the conspiracy.
No,
theory
yeah, but
sort
I
of-
mean, like the Kabbalah stuff.
Yeah, like and conspiracy theory and religion occultism becoming a thing.
Yeah, it's actually. I mean, that's a whole other topic. Is like the intersection between.
It's a more interesting
like,
topic.
Yeah, you have to be like like Judeo-Christian esotericism finding its way into Japan somehow.
the conspiracy theory thing is a thing I've been wanting to talk about for a while. Actually, don't have a good guest for it.
Yeah. If you're someone who knows a lot about conspiracy theories, whether you not you
Specifically in
believe in
Japan.
them,
Specifically in anime, too.
specifically in Japan, when it comes to anime, I don't know. Yeah, it'd be fun to talk. If you're someone who disagrees with everything we've said so far, I'm honestly kind of surprised that you listened to the entire. I probably would have clicked off, honestly. But
I mean, I didn't disagree. I would have probably clicked on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to again talk about this with someone who's like gives us a little bit more
like
pushback on it.
vehemently disagrees, just like fucking hates you.
Honestly, yeah, just even a shouting match would be something to like give this conversation new life, because this will not be the last time there's like drama about this on Twitter or whatever. I mean, but it's like we've said everything that we have to say about it. And I guess like if anyone ever presses on, it's like, this is what we believe. If you did disagree with us, you're welcome to talk to us about it.
Yeah, like we tried to record an episode yesterday actually, and I got really sick like before recording, and like in the middle of it I had to go vomit. From the sounds of it, I think that episode probably turned out better.
Oh yeah, well that episode's not going to be good. So for context, that's an episode you can go listen to on our Patreon at the $3 tier, which occasionally has stuff that is just not available literally anywhere else. Like the uncut episodes with like a little bit of like pre-episode warm up that just goes up on the $1 tier. You want the real stuff. You want the real hot takes. Go check out the $3. It's $2 more. You know, there's
videos up for $3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
yeah, I mean,
Mumi, what are your thoughts on the Jews?
That is a terrible way to end this. I don't.
You know, I didn't think they were that bad until I watched Angel Cop.